Welcome to Book Club for Movies, everybody. It's May 16th. I'm Ryan Miller, and I wish I had a quote from one of the movies I've seen so that Matt could guess it because he doesn't know what I'm going to talk about. Oh, I know.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't work for the government. Matt Amberg.
That's true, I don't. This sounds like it's a Marvel movie thing.
No.
No.
Good guess, though.
Well,
I am going through those.
Sorry.
We'll get to those later.
I don't work for the government. Oh, you watch Clue!
No.
Damn!
I mean, yes, but no. Is that in there? On Book Club for Movies, guys, this is where we watch one movie a week and we talk about it. We have a discussion. We're not going to do this again this week. I'm sorry. If you came prepared with Triple Frontier, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. This is my fault.
No. You know what? I never admitted this to you. You sent me a thing that was like, hey, I didn't get to watch the movie. I don't think we can blah all this stuff. I haven't told you. I didn't finish it either. I'm an hour into it at best. Yeah, no, sorry.
Now
I was going to finish it today.
No, see, you should never. This is the difference between you and me. I'm going to let you feel bad. I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't do. I'm going to be like, oh, no, yeah, you really, I was ready. I'm here. You're a good person.
It's okay. You know, we didn't have anything to talk about for our Tuesday show either, and I think we very nearly filled the hour over there. So this shouldn't be any problem. Actually, if anything, it's a blessing because I didn't even get through all of the I always have like a running list of movies that I've watched that aren't, you know, like rest of the show movies, just stuff we've seen happenstancely.
Yeah.
As people say that have dictionaries. Real word. But I didn't finish my list, so I've got plenty to talk about, no matter what, it seems.
I have a few I can talk about.
All right. See? It all works out.
Does it? Does it work out?
You want to go first or me then?
Oh, you know, how do you want to do? You want to go back and forth?
Have you figured out my quote? We can go back and forth. You know, I like that. Even if we're not volleyballing, you know, we've been playing a lot of sports lately. Maybe we take a break. We're
Maybe,
not in the best of shape. Yeah.
You know what? Let's just make this like more of a normal kind of ping pongy thing. You know?
Okay. Oh, no, you mentioned a sport. Okay.
Sorry, I don't know. So the thought, the one that I had in my head was from Clue. I think it's Tim Curry says something like, "That phone call from J. Edgar Hoover was for me." So that's
it was a decent guess. I just want to watch Clue again. So there's no. It's a victimless crime.
That's true. Sorry, I don't work for the government. You got it. And I'm dying.
I finally watched for the first time Sneakers.
My voice is my passport. Verify me.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That was the one. What am I? That's what I get for reading the first line from the Wikipedia article after I Googled Sneakers movie quotes.
Top tier Tobolowsky on that one.
Tabababa?
Stephen Tobolowsky is the one who says my voice is my passport. Verify me.
Yes. Okay, yeah. He's freaking the Bourne dude. He's in all the Bourne movies.
I like that. That's where you go to him because for me,
right.
It's Sneakers and it's Groundhog Day.
Wait.
Ned Ryerson.
Oh, you're right. I'm not even thinking about the right dude. I'm thinking about, and that guy is not in the Bourne Identity. Although now I want to see him in a Bourne movie.
I'm good with it too.
You're right. He is definitely.
I'm trying to think of who the bad guy was.
It's Benjamin Kingsley.
Benjamin, yes, the Mandarin, as it were.
Mm-hmm. As it were, the Gandhi himself.
Yes, Las Gandhi, I believe is.
Las Gandhi?
Isn't that what it is? Las Gandhi?
Sure.
Isn't that what they...
Is somebody, really? Is that a thing?
No, I thought that was I thought it was a Latin film.
No, Gandhi, wow.
No, it was a...
Whoa. So you definitely haven't ever seen Gandhi.
I've definitely seen Gandhi. I'm extremely aware of not only who the man is, but the film.
Well, then what is happening? How did that...
I don't... You were just saying Gandhi. Okay. So like, Las Gandhi. I don't know.
Las Gandhi? What? Las Gandhi? What does that even...
It doesn't mean anything.
I can't even process it.
I don't know. Nothing has happened. Tell me more about Sneakers and how much you love that movie and that Dan Aykroyd's character's name is Mother.
It's good. You know what? And again, I'm going to have to go off my notes a little bit here. I want to say it's been like over a month since I've seen the film. I can't remember a thing.
It's been 1 week since you looked at me.
It's been... Oh, I haven't posted that video yet.
Probably shouldn't, but...
Don't spoil it.
Okay.
You know, it's like somebody... Speaking of Sneakers now. It's like somebody came up with a fairly generic and in retrospect, also fairly predictable. Some of this may be coming looking back on it, like in retrospect. Came up with this kind of, like I said, generic, predictable idea for a movie, and then told nobody that was involved in it who went on to make a fantastic movie anyway. It's great, man. It's super good.
It's funny because for what it is, I mean, it's super good. I really like the movie. It doesn't hold up.
No, it doesn't age well at all.
Because it's a technology-based movie.
But a little bit of it.
But it's one of those flicks that for me kind of sits in the same pantheon as like War Games, where
you can get around it.
The technology is a major component of the movie, but it's not the thing that it doesn't ruin the movie for how far out you are, because you can kind of go, oh, in the 80s this was that.
It
me
doesn't ruin most of it. I mean, if that movie gets remade nowadays, it needs to be more savvy, right? They couldn't,
sure.
Like, they would have to replace. Like, there's a part at the end where the office that he's trying to steal the thing from, it is outfitted with motion sensors, so he can only move so fast. And I bet back in the day, like, I could see it's still filmed really well, and I could see how that comes across and is a very tense moment at a perfect spot in the film. But it's nowadays you're just like, this is like, no.
No, it's
that scene would never exist in a movie nowadays.
No. And if it did, it would be Tom Cruise, and he'd be coming from a ceiling.
You're okay. Touche. This is in what I'll tell you what makes it work more than not is the fact that number one, Redford pulls it off.
Right. Redford sells that really well.
But also it's built in. Like, he is playing an aged hacker from the 70s, right? Like, he's still very much at the top, or portrayed as at the top of his game in this movie. He's the alpha. But the fact that he, is supposed to be a little older, because it's not just something they threw in there to make that make sense. It's all part of the story, and it's all worked in. It's just its strengths are the writing. It's completely well written, both from story to dialogue, all of that. The acting, I mean, the people they got to do the parts were perfectly cast.
Come on, let's go. You got Robert Redford,
Yep.
Mary McDonnell, Sidney Poitier, Dan Aykroyd, River Phoenix, and
I can't believe you're going to get them all.
There's one more, I think, and I can't remember who it is.
You're missing the kind of
and he's the blind guy.
almost-
The blind guy.
almost autistic.
Wait,
Yeah, he's blind.
David Strathern.
Yep.
And
I mean, you don't really need the government employees, but I think you've got the main cast. That's all. I'm pretty sure.
That's all. Well, and you mentioned Benjamin the Mandarin.
Right. Yes. But yeah, perfectly cast, and they all just completely nail the roles. Mary McDonnell,
love her,
is amazing. This is probably. I mean, I haven't seen enough of what she's in, and I loved her in Battlestar, but this is probably her best movie to me.
Her best role probably is always going to be Dances with Wolves. I mean, there is a whole heck of a lot. You can say a lot about that movie, but at the end of the day, that's a really fine film, and she is one of the best parts of it.
Talk about movies not maybe aging well, but that was a movie that...
Beautiful film, man.
I mean, regardless, nothing changes about that.
Right.
It's just the white savior trope has aged very poorly,
Well, I mean, was it ever a good trope to have? I mean,
yes, exactly. All right.
GringosMakeMovies.org.
It's what?
Gringos.
Yes. I thought you said Ringos for a second, and I'm like,
yes,
caveman?
Right, I'm making movies. We're writing songs. I've got the drums. Come on.
Well, hey, speaking of music, if you don't mention the music with this movie, you're wrong.
I don't remember it.
Do you not remember it?
No.
It's so jazzy, in the weird, it doesn't fit. That's why I say, in a way, they gave you this kind of generic everything, and they don't tell anybody, because the music you wouldn't expect, and it's gorgeous and it's perfect.
Okay.
It's just okay. Now I really have to look up who.
There are two movies that do that, by the way, that I think, for me, one of them just it actually does fit perfectly fine, and I kind of expect it. But the movie that does that for me with its music is Wow, and I just blanked on it because I had it in my head, and then I thought of the other movie, and then I had that. Oh, what was
I'll do the other movie first.
well, the movie that it still fits, but I think it's just the most amazing music is The Princess Bride. The actual music to that with the guitar stuff, Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits, absolutely.
Oh, really?
Outrageous. Oh, that's what it was. I think that the Lethal Weapon series is very funny in this respect because they're these big bombastic action movies. Everything you ever see about them. The first one, a little less so. It's a little more of a... Like, the first movie is definitely a smaller movie in comparison to the other ones. And it's the better of the series. But they're these, like... action movies, and then they got Eric Clapton to do the super bluesy like riffs and stuff throughout it, and it's great. They made this weird bluesy thing work that I don't think should have worked there, but it does. So.
It's great, man. I love it when stuff does that. Like for some reason, it's always bluesy too, I guess is the thing. Like Halo ODST, right?
Sure.
Shouldn't have worked, but you're walking through those streets and it's just very sparse jazz, and you're like, this is my favorite game. It's James Horner,
the Horn Master,
the Horn Man himself.
That's right. The Horn Dog.
The Horn Dog. That's better. As he's known. Sneakers is a good movie.
Sneakers is a fun movie. I like it.
You got something?
Yeah. I'm going to go kind of in reverse here. We were Mother's Day yesterday. I'm sorry.
We were Mother's Day yesterday.
Mother's Day on Sunday.
You're right. 2 days ago. Sorry.
Correct.
Wait, it's Thursday, Matt. It's like a week. It's been so long since Mother's Day.
Okay. Mother's Day last Sunday.
Now that we're later in the week. Yeah.
Yeah. But if I say last Sunday, it works.
There we go. Problem solved.
There we go. Mother's Day was this past Sunday.
Start it over.
And Sunday, May 12th, 2019.
Oh, okay.
You know, see, Mother's Day.
I can follow what you're going to say from here on out now.
Good. I'm glad.
Now it makes sense.
Sure. She got to, it was her day, so she got to pick what she wanted to watch.
I'm sorry, whose day?
Mother's Day, actually. So my wife, in this case, my wife.
So your mom.
My wife is a mother,
gotcha.
So she also gets to celebrate it. Yeah, so she got to choose. We decided to watch Grandma's Boy, which.
Did you do that on purpose?
Did not actually. I did not suggest it to her. She was like, "Oh, we should watch Grandma's Boy." That movie is now and forever will be hilarious. It does also kind of have a couple of those minute technology tropes because it's about building a video game, and they show clips from the video game. And there are two things that aggravate me about this movie. Number one, the game was real, and they changed the name for the movie, if I remember correctly. But the game actually existed, and it never got released. They canned it for something. Yeah, and it was I believe it was in progress while they were filming it, and then it either got canceled before it was released or before the movie was released or something, but the game never came out. The game never happened. So that's my number one thing that I hate about this movie. And I don't hate it. It just bugs me. I'm like,
yeah, no, you want to play the video game from Grandma's Boy.
I do want to play the video game from Grandma's Boy. I do. I always have. The second thing that bugs me about this movie is, and this is going to sound awful, but it reminds me how much I liked Jonah Hill before he decided to become a real actor, quote unquote.
Whoa, I forgot he was in that movie.
Yeah, it was super early in his career. And yeah, it was right around, or it was pre, I'm fairly certain it was pre-Superbad.
Yeah, it was before Superbad. Yeah, absolutely.
But I admit it, man. I don't like him as every serious role I've seen him in, he has been middling to, all right, beh.
I'm not as interested
He's
in
not,
him, yeah.
I don't think he's as good, period. I just don't think he's a good actor in that respect. Like Moneyball, he got an Oscar nom for that movie, man. And that blows my mind.
That's where it all started, yeah.
Blows my mind because, number one, that movie, fine movie, didn't deserve any Oscar consideration whatsoever. Number two, him in that movie, are you cracked? This is totally one of those moments where they were like, oh, look, here's a giant jump from a outrageous comedian to super serious role. That's been done better. That's all I'm saying.
And he's continued to do comedies though. Like I liked him in 21 Jump Streets.
Yeah,
and,
those are okay.
I mean,
were okay.
Superbad. Honestly, you mentioned it. It is one of my favorite movies. I love that movie.
I don't think he'll ever top that in terms of comedy.
Very possibly.
Yeah, but outside of that, that movie is super fun, and it's one of those things where I love that. They got a couple of those because it's a Happy Madison movie, so Sandler had access to a whole bunch of the Saturday Night Live. So Kevin Nealon pops in there, and
all the regulars.
Yep, Spade is in there.
Nick Swartzen.
Nick Swartzen,
not an SNL guy.
No, Swartzen's a main character in the movie.
I thought it was.
Trying to remember who the other
dude?
Schneider's in it. Alan Covert is the main character.
That's the one I think about the most. Yeah.
And he's the one that was he's been in all of Sandler's movies in some weird.
Has he? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember him from any other movie.
He
actually.
was in Happy Gilmore. He's the he's the caddy, the caddy with the huge beard.
Okay.
That's him.
Maybe why I didn't recognize him.
In Mr. Deeds, he is the slimy tabloid guy that works with Winona Ryder originally, and then because she kind of falls in love with Deeds, he goes to not Chris Sarandon, whoever the big bad guy is, Peter, whatever his name is.
Peter Weir.
Peter, that's close, but that's still not it. He goes to that guy and tries to, and is like, oh, I can help you with this. He's been in all of Sandler's movies somewhere.
Okay. All right. I believe you.
It's a funny movie. It's a really funny movie. That is.
I've seen it once, and I don't think I've seen it since.
A movie. It's funny.
But there's no video game tie-in.
Demonic did not ever come to fruition. Unfortunately.
Is that the name of it?
The game in the movie, yeah, it was Demonic.
Demonic.
I don't remember actually. Okay, hold on for a second. I gotta look this up.
Johnny Demonic. That's what they should have.
It was supposed to be a tie-in for a Clive Barker movie that was going to come out, but two things happened. One,
wow.
Clive Barker movies rarely get off the ground. They're impossible to get funded. He has the worst luck in the world, and it depresses the hell out of me every single time. And the other reason being that Majesco, the company that was putting the game out, kind of died right in the middle of the production, and they went, okay, well, whoop, no more.
You think some of that grandma's boy money would have
Well, you'd think
some of that cash would have.
But you're acting like Grandma's Boy made money. That's
did
number
not.
one.
Yeah.
And that number two, it could help in any respect fund a video game.
All right. Grandma's Boy. Excellent. You know what? I only have one more.
Okay, go. I've got one more also then.
Have you heard of this movie that people watch called Green Book?
I have heard about it. It's I'm trying to remember what the really good description I found of it was, and I feel like it was oh man, it was something like it's a white person's way to whitewash a story for white people. I think that's what it was.
I could see it.
I heard that.
I
heard that the movie took a lot of liberties with the reality of the situation.
Yeah, there's definitely that aspect to it, and I'm the first guy that'll kind of ruin movies for that. We've talked about this, and most recently with Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh yeah, which we both agreed was.
Regardless, not a good movie.
No,
yeah, kind of type thing.
Egregious.
And even though I do that, I'm definitely less qualified to even do that here. Like we're dealing with issues of race and family, and the family of Don Shirley has been very vocal about not being okay. We don't need to get into the whole thing. Honestly, I just want to kind of talk about some of my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
But yes, it's important to know that this was written by the main characters in the movie's son, and the family of Don Shirley is not completely happy with some of the events and or the portrayal. So there's issues to it that you should definitely be up on. As far as the film itself goes, it does seem to be made more palatable than it probably could have been. It's not hard hitting in any way. it's still meant to be a good time at the movies, which that might sound weird, but in movies like this that deal with very important issues, sometimes fun isn't, necessarily the goal. You're there to think, for lack of a better term, I guess. Anyway, but the movie itself, we watched it because it came up with all the Oscar buzz and stuff like that, so I wanted to check it out, and it looked fun. My wife was actually more interested in watching it than I was, just because I didn't know, and I'm not that plugged in as far as that stuff goes, which is funny. But it's weird because the beginning actually felt pretty unpolished to me. Viggo Mortensen, I think, is a great actor. It's kind of a shame he got his start with Lord of the Rings, because while he does do a good job there, I don't think it's showcased what he can do. I think he's done much more interesting work since.
Oh, significantly. Sure. Yeah. There are a couple movies I have in my mind specifically.
Eastern Promises.
Yep.
History of Violence.
Yep.
And was there another?
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope.
I can't think. No. Okay.
No,
I mean, here he's fat.
I saw pictures of fat Viggo.
I called him Big O Mortensen the whole time because I'm clever.
A reputation you can ride on, Big O Mortensen.
Man, I didn't come up with a jingle though. Shoot. Viggo does more of a caricature than I think he's ever done. He ratchets up the Bronx. He plays an Italian man from the Bronx, so you can imagine.
Sure. Okay.
And I guess if you've seen some of the interviews with Nick Vallelonga himself, the son of the character that Viggo's portraying, probably not that far off, even if it does seem a little over the top at times. But the story is that Don Shirley needs someone to drive him across the country on tour. Viggo takes the job, and they develop a rapport along the way, wherein they both learn a little bit of something about each other and their culture. Where that gets a little dicey is that, sometimes Big O is teaching Mahershala Ali, which, by the way, no matter what, freaking nailed it in this. Like, it's kind of worth it just to watch him, really. But it teaches him how to like fried chicken and stuff like that. So you can see where some of the issues come from. I don't think it's as offensive as some of the loudest people will tell you, but also I don't think I'm qualified to be one of the loudest people in that regard. So definitely, like I said, do your homework and stuff. You're going to have fun watching the movie kind of either way. Or actually, wait.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to have fun either way on that one, right?
Yeah. I think kind of in the end, it has some of this. When we talked about Bohemian Rhapsody, I think one of the things I came down on was that we weren't the audience. Like, this was made for, and I mentioned my mom and my aunts in this conversation, both just all wonderful people, very much of that crowd, like it's funny because what table were we at? We were at a table where somebody mentioned it. There were several people there. I don't know. Do you, being the movie guy, ever end up at a table of people and or family wherein they begin to talk about a movie and you are silent because you're either one, going to have way too deep of a take on it, or two, kind of didn't like it for that reason type thing,
Yes, I do know this.
Okay, so I'm just there silent, and then finally, I can't even remember where this was. This is how bad it was. Somebody looked up at me and was like, oh, it was my brother. Yeah, we were at Cracker Barrel. That's where we were.
Sure.
How could I forget?
I don't understand how you could ever forget the Cracker Barrel.
But they started to talk about this, and they looked at and they're like, oh, like what? Like, first it was Bohemian Rhapsody, and I just kind of was like, no, sir. I did not enjoy it as much. But then they started talking about Green Book, and I was like, no, it's good. But this movie is made kind of for that section of the audience. I mean, people that don't want to think about it that much, I guess, in a way. Like, people that can turn a lot of that off and have a good time.
These are movies made for people who either, one, just want the highlights and the entertainment aspect. They don't actually care all that much about the situation. That's not who that's for. You're absolutely right. This is meant for, the Bohemian Rhapsody is an easier one, I think, to kind of put into this umbrella, or put under this umbrella, because it really, I think,
it seems very conscious about it. Like,
right.
It seems to be there seems to be a wanton disregard for anything but that. You know, like they're like, you know what? I don't care about this part because I know the people that are going to, that might be giving it more credit than
I think it
deserves, really.
Yeah. But it's not only for those people, but it's also, I think, for the people who like to pretend to know the history. You like to say, oh, I know. Oh, yeah, this is what happened.
I'm glad you didn't catch this. And you shouldn't have, because it's food related. I did say wonton disregard instead of wanton.
Okay. I didn't mishear that, which is good, because I immediately, in my mind's eye, as soon as you said that, I've been thinking about it now. It's been there, like an image, and the image has been a crab cheese wonton.
The thing is that I sold it. That's the important part, is that people heard that at first and were like, oh, I guess that's just how it's said. But we just like food that much.
And I really could go for some crab cheese wontons.
That sound good.
Right?
I
may get Chinese food for dinner, honestly, now.
There's an all-you-can-eat buffet down the street that I've never been to.
Be
that
careful.
I've heard middling things about.
Yeah, that's right. Is it one of those places that's like $1.39 a scoop?
No.
Those places terrify me, and I'm still willing to go. Man, next time you come visit, we're going to go to the one that's down the road from us. It looks bad, like the outside looks trash, and it says right above it's like 99 cents a scoop. All right.
I'm in. We can do that, and then what was the all-you-can-eat pasta place?
Cinzetti's.
It'll be great.
It's an Italian eatery. Hey, my name is Viggo Mortensen. Let's go to this place, Cinzetti's.
Wow, so appropriate. You know, but you're right. And I think to a lesser extent, this movie will hit with that same crowd,
sure,
even if it's trying to play to a higher crowd. I love that it's made by one of the Farrelly brothers.
Always funny to see when they do weird stuff.
And it's made very well. Like, this is one of his better movies, comedies included in that statement. And it was fun. It's problematic, I think, is the issue, but the overall message is important and I think delivered well enough. It's just whether or not, because the main character, Big O's character, is, you could say, casually racist if you're being generous. And that's not ever really treated. Like, he doesn't ever have a...
He doesn't become Mel Gibson.
He does not become Mel Gibson, thank goodness. But he also doesn't ever have kind of a revelatory moment, and not a real pronounced one, anyways. Like, and maybe they were trying to go more for the
realism.
Over time, they develop a relationship and they come to understand each other, which leads to greater understanding overall. I get that, but because they play at that more than Viggo ever having a moment where he's like, "Oh, this is wrong." Like, the way I see and think about some of these things is completely wrong.
Right. It
gets problematic, I guess, for me in that way.
Fair enough.
They try to make that subtext, and that can come off a little dismissive, worst case scenario.
Sure.
I don't know if that has been other people's main issue with all that, but I think that's what happened when I saw it.
All right.
There you go. That's all I got for Green Book. It's more than I thought even.
Better than Green Room?
No.
All right, well.
More important, maybe. But no, Green Room I enjoyed much more thoroughly.
Asked and answered. All right, I got one more movie for you.
That sounds like enough.
I did watch both of the Joe Bob movies this past week, but I'm only going to talk about one of them because one of them was awesome and bad, and one of them is amazing and great. And the movie that he watched, and this was a total shocker to me when he pulled this one out of nowhere. I was like, I did not ever expect to see Joe Bob do this movie. And it's called A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night. I know I've talked about this before, but I don't know if it was on the show.
Very possibly.
And it was a very long time ago. A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night it was directed by Anna Lily Amirpour. She hilariously, she's the one that got just recently tagged and is attached to direct a remake of the movie Cliffhanger. So 100% sold on that. If ever a movie
making Cliffhanger,
if ever a movie has needed a remake, it's the Sylvester Stallone, John Lithgow powerhouse Cliffhanger.
He hangs on a cliff. What are you gonna do?
You know what? You can't do anything about it.
It's unimpeachable after that. Like, what'd you think of Cliffhanger? Did he hang on a cliff? He did.
Well, then you thought it was good.
Best picture.
So, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night has a couple of really interesting things going for it. The big one being that this was an Elijah Wood thing where he found, he got into it. A Spectravision got involved and was like, "We love this, do it."
Oh, so it's weird.
It's very weird. So the movie is a vampire flick, and the way that Anna Lily Amirpour refers to it, she tags it, whatever, it's the first Persian language American vampire Western, which is also called, they also refer to it as the first Iranian vampire Western.
A real genre piece.
It's a real genre piece. Filmed completely in black and white. It is completely in Persian language. There is no English spoken in the film. It is a current time, it's a present day type thing. It takes place in a small, kind of a small broken down little town village area. Drug dealers, the kids that don't know right from wrong, that kind of thing. But it's done in such a beautiful art house style and art house way that it in a way that it doesn't stick its own head at its butt. It's a really, really smart,
hard to do, actually.
It's a really smart, well-directed movie, and it follows this this vampire, this woman who she walks home alone at night sometimes.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, crazy. And then
spoiler.
But she's a skateboarding vampire that she wears all of the and this is where I'm going to have to unfortunately be an idiot and not understand enough about cultural differences because I don't really know what you call some of this stuff.
Hey, I have my green book. You can have yours too.
Great. So I don't know how to explain, I guess, but she wears she has the whole head covering garment, not like her whole face, but you can see her face, but she has the garment that kind of covers her hair and all that for, I think it's for modesty, I assume. So she skateboards, she does that stuff. There are a couple characters who, they steal from other people and she kind of takes she takes umbrage with that. There's situations where there's a hooker being attacked by somebody and there's a father, this heroin addict. And it's this really intricately small story that has so much weight to it. And it's beautiful. It's an amazing film. And I wish I could give it more explanation, but it's kind of this movie about this solitary vampire who is not your typical vampire, but not in a goofy, funny way. She's self-conscious while being completely confident in who she is. She is reserved while being able to be, have some bombast to her, not a lot, but it
sounds really compelling. Honestly, it sounds like
I told you my favorite vampire movie of all time is Near Dark. Significant margin. This is by far, to me, the best vampire movie. No question. I think this is an incredible movie. Totally worth your time.
Better than Lost Boys.
Well, okay. Let's bring it down a notch. But
better than Daybreakers.
Yeah.
Better than
it's
Dusk Till Dawn.
It is again, those are movies that I love and they're fun and they're excellent movies in those respects.
Oh.
This movie it's
good.
Yeah, I mean, for lack of a better word, I guess. Those movies are good, they're fun, they're wonderful, they're amazing. This movie is it's an art house movie that Anna Lily Amirpour just whatever she decided to do in every direction there, she did right.
I love it. It sounds actually really cool. What did Joe Bob add? Anything fun?
Oh, actually, yeah. A piece of information I had no idea about. So, as I said, Persian language, first Iranian vampire Western film made in the U.S.
Really?
Totally made here. She shot it in such a way that it looks like
It looked like it was filmed not in the United States. Is that what you're
right? She made it look like kind of the Iranian, I guess what she either she knows what parts of Iranian towns look like or some stereotype of them. again, from a cultural perspective, I don't know what Iran looks like. I know that I've ran so far away,
Yeah,
but
so
there
totally
it is.
convinced you as far as Flock of Seagulls go.
Yes, correct. I mean, the hair was right on. The guitar player was like 16. So yeah, it was.
Did the headdress? I did the homework for you. Did the headdress cut off at the chin or go all the way down? Like, did it wrap around the chin, hide the neck, or no?
Yes.
It did.
Yes.
So you might be looking at a hijab or an al-amira, probably a hijab
A hijab.
or a chador.
Maybe it's hijab.
Or
Maybe
a
that's what I'm thinking
khimar.
of a hijab. That's the.
This is not helping, is it?
I think it's a hijab. No, I think you might be right. I just don't want to. I don't know, and I don't want to be culturally insensitive.
Right, and I didn't really help that at all, actually. So
Well, you gave me a whole bunch of things to look up.
we apologize for the culturally insensitive episode of Book Club for Movies this week. If you've got a problem, and you should, with anything
I'll
we've
solve
said,
it. Check out this hook while Ryan revolves it.
Oh, it wasn't insensitive before. Now it is.
Okay, there it is.
Because he's a real person who's got a lot of flack for that song.
He's playing live in like I think a few days, maybe.
I came out at the wrong time of the year. What can I say? Gosh, for Shazam instead of Vanilla Ice.
That's right.
Is it still Vanilla Ice? Does he still?
That's
use
what he
that
has
one?
up there. Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't say like V Ice or anything. Vice.
So stay tuned for Vanilla Ice here at Book Club for Movies. We'll bring it back to you next week for sure.
Not
Actually, no, we
next
won't.
week. That's right. There you go. You caught it.
I've gone too fast. We're gonna be gone next week. I start a new job. If you everything you want to know about that, listen to the Tuesday show. But you're also, I have no idea what you're doing. But you said you couldn't record.
Yeah. My wife's 50th birthday is this Friday. We have people coming over, and Monday I will be finishing up with all of that, so I won't have time.
So if you too want to have a birthday, have it next week because we won't be here. But next week, that's still false. The week after, just like 2 weeks, come back for Triple Frontier. We will still do it. And I will say the other thing I'm working on here, I kind of hinted at on Tuesday as well, is I did see Avengers Endgame. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to talk about that just yet, but I have come up with what I believe necessary list of movies to see before seeing Endgame.
What are those movies, please? I would like to actually know what your list is, because perhaps I will make it. I'm not going to see it in the theater for sure. We're not going, but I will get that list so I could also kind of maybe keep up a little bit here and there.
By the time I get there, the movie might be out. Yeah, no, it's not all 22 by any means, but it is in this order. And I'm not going chronologically. I know there's some stuff out there that's sort of like, watch Captain America because it's actually
It's the machete order.
No, yes, I'm not macheting anything here unless you count the original machete order that Marvel released all the movies in. So it's Iron Man 1. Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, Avengers 1, Iron Man 3, Thor 2, Winter Soldier, Guardians 1, Avengers 2, Civil War, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Avengers 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp, that might be the weirdest one of this list, Captain Marvel.
It is not, by the way.
And then Endgame. Yeah? What would you think of the weirdest pull from that list was?
Oh, The Dark World. The fact that you're going to watch that actually kind of blows my mind.
You would think that until you see Endgame, strangely enough.
Oh, no, I understand why. I like Dark World. I enjoyed it in the theater. I enjoyed it the last time I watched it. I think it's a fine movie. I think that it was weird for that movie to be even
referenced as much as it was,
at all. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll say that some of them are weird, I think, because not much. I mean, they had a rough idea, I'm sure, of where they were going with Infinity War at some point, and I'm sure as the Marvel movies took off, it kind of made more and more sense. But there are some movies where it's kind of like, well, there's like one thing in the movie that's pertinent to Endgame, and I'm watching an entire movie for that one thing. Type thing. Like Iron Man 2 might have been one that I would consider skipping.
That was the other one, the Iron Man 2.
Yeah, Iron Man 2 and Thor 2, famously probably the most not underrated, properly lowly rated of the entire group.
Accurately rated.
But there's been some surprises, I will say. And the reason I had to include Iron Man 2 is because it's the first, that's where Black Widow comes in. That's literally her first movie.
That's so weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. You forget that. But there have been some great surprises. And what I'll eventually do for some rest of the show up there whenever I'm done is I'll go through and I just have 1 or 2 sentences per movie leading up to Endgame, and then I might finally talk about Endgame, or we can talk about Endgame by then, or whatever it ends up being. That's where I'm at now. I'm only at Captain America on that list so far.
I just want to read this off to you.
Okay.
Welcome to Collinwood. You, me, and Dupree. Captain America the Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame.
This is the Russo.
That's the Russo's filmography, yeah. TV, they did a bunch of stuff because they did Arrested Development, they did Community, they did Happy Endings, which was a huge, I freaking love that show. They did, I think they did Agent Carter.
Oh, sure. Why not? I really kind of want to watch that show, actually. I've been thinking about...
Man, watch the first three episodes of that show when it was running, and we were like, oh, this is so good. And then it like, by the time we got, like, we were going to get caught up, they canceled it, and we were like, well, I'm not going to bother with this now.
If it's a contained arc, I'm excited. Like that.
Well, that's the thing is, I don't think it is. I don't remember. Because I think they built it thinking we're going to go further, and I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
Nobody does.
I didn't finish it. So.
But if you have any suggestions about that, I'm sure wrong list, let me know. Make me a case.
The thing is, what are you missing? You're missing the first Ant-Man movie.
And that's kind of inconsequential. A lot of the it's funny, I'm missing more phase 3 stuff than anything because I feel like they were kind of trending. Like Thor Ragnarok, one of my favorites of all 22, not super necessary for Endgame unless you want to see him. Does he lose his eye? No, that's Infinity War, right? Yeah, he gets his eye back and whatever. I'm sure there are some omissions there. You can correct me, but that's the list for now.
It's a good list, I think. I think you're hitting all the points you need to, at least.
Feels like it. We'll find out. And it's been fun, and there have been some really, really good surprises. In fact, this will be my answer. Jonathan Blade, excellent Twitter follow and friend of the show, there was a Twitter tag going around. Remember what it was?
Oh,
yeah.
Your favorite scenes from Marvel movies.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't get you, thankfully, responded for us, but I didn't get in there kind of because I was doing this thing at the same time and a zillion other things. But I think this will be my response to that tag because there have been movies that, I've kind of ignored for the most part that I've gotten a better appreciation for. So
sure.
That'll be my answer whenever this goes down.
Cool.
That's all I got this week.
All right. Well, then I will talk to you in 2 weeks. How's that?
Let's do it for Triple Frontier. If you want to get at us, it's podcast at bookclub4movies.com. See you in 2 weeks.
Bye!